Okay. Ok, bueno, buenas tardes. Les quiero dar una calurosa bienvenida a todas las personas que se están uniendo a esta segunda jornada de masterclass y conciertos de este primer encuentro de mujeres y disidencias en el jazz. Queremos pedirle en primer lugar disculpas por el retraso al comenzar esta clase. Nos retrasamos alrededor de 22 minutos según mi compu. Hola. Y bueno, les pedimos las disculpas, intentamos todos los días ser lo más puntuales posible para no respetar el tiempo de todas las personas, pero bueno, hay cosas que se nos escapan de las manos y eso. El día de hoy comenzamos con la clase de Jas Kayser, que se llama Afrobeat desde la raíz. Durante la clase pueden ir dejando sus comentarios, impresiones o reflexiones en los chats de Zoom y por YouTube para las personas que no están siguiendo en la transmisión. Y vamos a dejar al final de la clase un tiempo para que puedan realizar sus preguntas allá, si ella pueda responder. La clase va a ser en inglés, así que les quiero presentar a Pilar Hernández, que está ahí. Ella va a ser la que nos va a estar traduciendo la clase al español. Y también aprovechar de recordar que la clase está siendo grabada. Y bueno, eso, para comenzar también agradecer a todas las personas que se han estado conectando, a quienes están ahora aquí en el Zoom por la transmisión, e invitarlas a que también continúen haciéndolo durante el día. Más rato tenemos un conversatorio, en la noche los conciertos, así que gracias por la participación y el apoyo a nuestras actividades. Síganos en Facebook y en Instagram, sobre todo. Bueno, sin más, ya les dejo con nuestra artista el día de hoy, Jas Kayser, baterista, compositora y educadora. Y Pilar, vamos para que la introduzcas tú.
Okay, Jazz, take it away.
Hey, nice. Thank you for the lovely introduction. I didn't catch it.
Sorry for the long speech.
No, not at all.
Sorry.
Perfect. Cool. Hey, everybody. I'm liking I can see some of you. Can't see everybody, but that's okay. Do your thing. Hey, we got Luciano over there. Way big up. Nice. Hey, now people are coming through. Nice. Yeah. Show your faces. Beautiful. I love it. Cool. Hey, the whole crew. I hope everybody's good. Yeah, thanks for having me. So the plan today was to talk about, can you hear me well, or it's quite quiet? Oh, it's all good. Nice. Yeah, I wanted to talk nice about Afrobeat and jazz and the connection between both genres, both being equally as important as the other.
Que te estaba diciendo que quiere hablar sobre el Afrobeat y el jazz y la conexión entre esos dos.
And actually, I was going to focus a lot on the drums to start. How many do this if you play drums? Is anybody?
¿Cuántos bateristas hay presentes el día de hoy? Exprésese.
Hey, Sophie, exactly. Cool. No one else. That's it, right? Cool. So anyway, I think it will still be interesting to tell you some bits about the drums, and then after that, I'm going to get into sort of the rhythm and the things on the drum kit. But we can find ways to apply it to all of your instruments.
Sí, va a partir entonces hablando específicamente de la batería, pero luego va a explicar como más los ritmos y cómo se pueden aplicar a sus diferentes instrumentos.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let me share this this PowerPoint. Let's see. All right. Bada bing, bada boom. Afrobeat and jazz. Can everybody see the screen? All good.
Yes, we're all good.
Nice. Yeah, so very, very quick story about how I got interested. Is everybody into Afrobeat, actually? That's a question. Has everybody heard it? Everybody know what it is?
Las personas que están acá, ¿están familiarizadas con el Afrobeat? ¿Lo han escuchado? ¿Les gusta?
Yeah, cool. Okay. Because I think I started playing, well, I was playing drums from when I was 9 years old, and then started focusing and studying jazz maybe when I was like 15, 16. And then I didn't discover Afrobeat until I was like 20 or something, which is funny to me. And I think that's why I feel very passionately about this music, because discovering Afrobeat, and obviously that took me to many other paths, I realized how important it was for jazz music too. And it helped my jazz playing so much and kind of made everything make sense.
Está hablando de que, bueno, ella partió tocando la batería a los 9 años, se dedicó al jazz como a los 15, 16 años, pero no conoció el Afrobeat hasta más o menos los 20, y ahora lo ve como una parte muy importante de su forma de tocar y su conexión con el jazz.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think maybe in Latin America, you must know even better than me about the kind of evolution of the rhythms and how they developed through history and through social history and cultural history, and because I'm from England, you know, I think maybe I missed a lot of this experience. So learning jazz was just like the English way to copy New York jazz. But my drum teachers, or, you know, jazz music teachers, I don't feel like had emphasized enough the connection of all the music, which is obviously the most important part of doing music.
En Latinoamérica, ustedes deben conocer mucho mejor que yo la evolución de los ritmos afros. Yo estudié en Londres, por lo tanto es como una copia del New York Jazz. Y bueno, tuve la fortuna de tener profesores que me enseñaron la importancia de la conexión entre esos ritmos africanos y el jazz tradicional.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So very quick, it's gonna come up more, and also you can ask questions or get involved in the conversation whenever you want. But yeah, in case you don't already know, Afrobeat originates from the pioneers Fela Kuti and Tony Allen, collaboratively.
Está diciendo que lo primero que todo es entender que el Afrobeat se genera desde los pioneros que son Fela Kuti y Tony Allen.
Yes, and the Afrobeat music is derived from high life music, the West African music, and then basically, I mean, there's much more detailed history, but essentially what happened was Fela Kuti had his band. They were playing high life music with the first album I heard was Fela Kuti and the Kulambitos, and that's very like traditional high life. But then Tony Allen, who's a drummer, joined the band, and he created, I mean, many different rhythms, but specific grooves on the drums that were never heard before.
Que bueno, esta música obviamente se genera desde la música tradicional africana, y lo que pasa es que Fela Kuti tenía su banda, ¿cierto? Y estaba tocando un tipo de música africana, de África del Oeste, así como más tradicional, y luego llega Tony Allen y empieza a desarmar y a armar de nuevo y crear estos ritmos revolucionarios.
Absolutely. And so Fela Kuti says, of course, Fela Kuti gets the huge amount of credit for the work he did, and he brought the band together, Fela Kuti and the Africa 70. But he says without Tony Allen, there would be no Afrobeat. because the genre is very much defined by what he did on the drums.
Está diciendo que Fela Kuti incluso dice que sin Tony Allen no existiría el Afrobeat. Así de importante es la influencia que él tuvo como baterista dentro de su banda.
Yeah, and there we go. Tony Allen, he has many interviews online. I was fortunate enough to actually meet him twice. Sadly, he passed away last year in lockdown, quite old. But he talks a lot about, we got a little picture of Art Blakey here. I think he was one of his favorite drummers. And obviously in the 1960s, was the Fela Kuti used the music for kind of the activism in the civil rights movement in Nigeria. During that time, obviously there's, the civil rights movement going on in America at the same time. And it kind of coincides, but Tony Allen was very inspired by the jazz music of that time and the swing, and obviously played a lot of high life and traditional African rhythms too. So his goal was to just combine the two.
Tony Allen tenía como gran referencia a Art Blakey. También estuvo muy metido en las protestas sociales y los fenómenos sociales africanos del momento, que tienen que ver obviamente con el tema racial, y esa influencia más la influencia de Art Blakey hizo que él combinara esas dos cosas para crear un sonido nuevo.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking now, it's so important for because it's very easy, I think, for drummers and percussionists to get really obsessed with rhythm and groove and everything. But of course, it's equally as important for like other instrumentalists, harmonic instruments, melodic instruments, to be so involved in the rhythm on this side and to work on your time and your groove and to get involved in these claves and these different, even just dissecting the Afrobeat grooves and understanding what's going on. Just like drummers and percussionists should study harmony and melody too. So this is going to be good. This is going to be good.
Está diciendo que para los bateristas es bastante fácil involucrarse en los temas de las claves, los ritmos, los grooves, pero es igualmente importante para todos los instrumentos melódicos y armónicos también hacerlo, al igual que para los bateristas también es importante involucrarse en el tema armónico y en el tema melódico. Así que esto va a estar bueno.
Cool, okay. Anybody have any questions? Fire away if you want to say anything, I don't mind.
¿Preguntas hasta ahora?
For now, cool, all right, maybe later.
Yo.
There we go. So this presentation is actually, I did another workshop for the Panama Jazz Festival, and it's kind of a bit different to that, but developed from these. But sorry, I didn't write these in Spanish, but I don't know if you're able to translate it in short notice. But I joined a workshop by Patrice Russian and Terry Lynn Carrington, just online in lockdown.
You want me to translate it?
Yeah, is that possible?
Yes, of course. Dice, inspirado en un workshop de Patrice Russian. Y salen un par de frases que dice, there are multiple paths to the goal. The first thing is to acquire the title. Hay muchos caminos para llegar a la meta, pero lo primero es fijarse el objetivo. Esa es la primera frase. Y la segunda frase dice, everything you're learning is part of your expression, and there is not one way to express that. Todo lo que estás aprendiendo es parte de tu expresión y no hay una sola forma de expresarla.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you so much. You're legend. Yeah, I think it's very inspiring. And when she said that, I thought very much about the music evolution and all the different genres and how important it is to kind of to dip into everything, because especially in jazz music, for me personally, I think I was going down one path and hearing like one thing, thinking, oh, this music has to be this. But then when you learn more, of course, even drummers, some drummers are from, you know, maybe they're living in New York, but their origins are in the Caribbean or in Latin America, or, you know, their family are from West Africa, and of course the music derives from this. So you can't hear one thing and expect it to be that. It's a combination of an unbelievable amount of things that are equally important to dig into.
Claro, que para Jazz es importante esta frase porque le dicen que tiene que abrirse y no quedarse solamente con el jazz, ¿cierto? Tiene que abrirse a escuchar todo tipo de música porque todo tipo de música al final le sirve para el jazz. La música latinoamericana, la música africana, la música folclórica, al final todo converge en el jazz.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so I think this next slide, let's see. Oh, this is kind of what we're going to talk about, but whatever. First of all, I wanted to talk about, like, I think maybe 4. I can't remember how many drummers I put in this. But this is kind of drummers in order of the way they contributed to the music. So, and I don't know if anybody knows this. I mean, I'm new to some of this drummer, Baby Dodds. Has anybody heard of him?
Va a hablar de 4 bateristas distintos en el orden en que ellos contribuyeron a la música y está preguntando si es que, porque ella lo conoció recientemente, entonces si es que alguien había escuchado hablar de Baby Dodds.
Nice, that's good. Now he's going to change your life.
Ahora les va a cambiar la vida.
It's incredible, and he's like the absolute OG of swing music. As it says here, he's born in New Orleans, and he's most known for his time playing with Louis Armstrong, as you can see in the picture, which is of course like the most popular jazz ever in the world, probably the richest jazz musician to ever exist, to play music on the radio, to play at parties, and revolutionize the music, and was like, you know, the best entertainer in the world. And behind this, holding it all together and making it swing like no tomorrow, is this guy, Baby Dodds.
Entonces, Baby Dodds es como uno de los padres del swing clásico. Nació en New Orleans y como se hizo conocido tocando con Louis Armstrong, que también es un jazzista muy de los clásicos, de los pioneros, de los que formaron el swing tradicional, y detrás de la banda de Louis Armstrong, uniendo todo, ahí estaba Baby Dodds.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think, I don't know if anybody else is interested on their instrument, but what interests me on the drums is the way they set up the instrument, the structure of how they play it.
Está hablando que a ella sobre todo le llama la atención la forma en que él construye la batería, como la estructura de cómo la toca.
Yeah, and how that kind of developed, you know, because it's interesting to why people play today the way they do. When you look, for example, Baby Dodds here has his snare drum slanted but facing away from him, which you don't really see anymore today. And of course he's playing a bass drum that is much bigger than, like, generally than what people play, and the cymbals are very, very, very flat.
Ah, ok. Entonces está hablando de como el orden de la batería, que no es muy común. Tenemos el snare drum, ¿cierto? Que es la caja que está como inclinada, como no inclinada hacia él, sino que inclinada hacia afuera. Y además el bombo bastante grande, que tampoco se ve mucho ahora. Y además los platillos muy, muy planos. Entonces todas esas cosas son interesantes.
Yeah, I'm going over to the drums now. But I think it's interesting and important because, wait, let me just see if this is going to work. I put it, you can see the drums, huh? Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Important because that kind of shows the way they play, and it helps you get an understanding of their sound, because I don't know if anybody is into traditional jazz. The swing before, for example, you see how his cymbals are like flat. That's because most of the time they're swinging on the snare drum. We weren't using a ride cymbal at this point.
Ok. Entonces está diciendo que ese orden de la batería es importante para entender el sonido del swing tradicional. Como dijo antes, los platillos son bastante planos y eso es porque el swing lo lleva la caja.
Yeah. Okay, let me just see if you can hear this. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Nice. So, yes, thumbs up. Me encanta. So, have you heard this groove that...
The sound kind of cuts off.
Huh?
The sound kind of cuts off, like, right after you start playing, it goes dead.
Okay. Let me try and play a bit quieter. Maybe that helps. Better?
No, it still cuts off.
Oh, okay. No worries. All right. Maybe what I'm gonna do maybe in like 15 minutes is put like a microphone, but in a little break. But I'll keep going for now, and then I'll come back. All good. Yeah. Okay. Next drummer. Check it out. Max Roach. A lot of you must have heard of Max Roach. He's a bit more well known. Yes. Well known for his playing with Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis, and especially Clifford Brown. I don't know. There's trumpeters in here, but there's one of the best quintets in the world, I think, is Clifford Brown and Max Roach quintet, and they were sort of equal band leaders, but it's the most swinging bebop ever.
Entonces, el segundo baterista es Max Roach. Seguramente más gente lo conoce, es más conocido. Es un baterista de bebop, también pionero, y es conocido por sus trabajos con Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis y Clifford Brown. Y también Jazz dice que en cuenta que uno de los mejores quintetos es el de Clifford Brown y Max Roach.
Yeah, and interesting fact, I don't know if this is unbelievably like uninteresting for non-drummers, but in this picture, the setup is kind of the same, right? But the only difference is the cymbals are now slanted, because at this time in bebop, they started using the ride cymbal to swing. Well, actually that comes from big band and the swing era.
Que está diciendo así como que un dato curioso es que si se fijan en la foto, la batería está ordenada de la misma manera, pero los platillos ahora están inclinados hacia él. Y eso es porque el swing se empezó a llevar en el platillo alto.
Yes, it's beautiful. And this guy, look how cool he is. Ridiculous.
Sí, se ve muy cool. Se ve muy cool.
Yeah, all right. And of course, a lot of us, I think bebop is maybe one of the best genres we hear when we get into jazz. And this is why it's important to check out Baby Duds. If you don't already, definitely check out his videos, his recordings. He has lots of videos on YouTube with Louis Armstrong, actually, which is amazing. But I think with jazz, there's one aspect is lacking the African influence and the Afrobeat. But the other aspect is lacking the traditional jazz and the New Orleans style. I think we're missing these two things sometimes when we're studying jazz.
Que para los que nos interesa el jazz, si quieren escuchar bateristas que partan por el primero que ya mencionó, Max Roach también es una influencia importante porque tendemos a dejar uno de los dos de lado, ¿cierto? O la raíz más afro del jazz o la raíz más tradicional de New Orleans.
Check it out. I'm going to show you something right now. This is something everybody has to hear. All right.
Nos va a mostrar algo para escuchar.
Let me find it on my... Sorry.
I have a question.
Oh yeah, fire away.
Okay, about Bobby Dots on his plates. It is, capaz lo digo en castellano y lo pueden traducir. Sobre los platos, si tienen una influencia, digamos, de lo que es la marcha militar, like military bands and the drum set of that, like no, sin platillos. I don't know if.
Wait, say again. Sorry.
Sorry, my English.
It's okay. It's okay.
I mean, Bobby Dots on his plates, like they are super plain, is something because of the military bands influence that they, or like the early drum sets with no plates or separate from them.
Absolutely.
The cymbals, they say.
Of course, the New Orleans second line. Originally, yes, the cymbals. The drums was played separately, like one person on the bass drum, one person on the marching drum, one person on the cymbals or whatever. And then it was a bit later with Louis Armstrong when they create the kit and they're like, oh, one person can play this. But actually the drums started without a hi-hat. It was just, and cymbals, it was just bass drum and snare drum and the toms. And then I heard a story just yesterday. Apparently, it might be Baby Dodds or another drummer from this era was playing the drums but tapping, and you play the hi-hat with your left foot, right? Mm-hmm. And he was tapping his foot while playing, and then someone in the audience said like, oh, I should put something under that foot. So, you have like another percussion instrument while you're playing. So that's when he gave him like a hi-hat, but it wasn't the hi-hat like in this height. It was a hi-hat like on the floor. So that's where the hi-hat comes from. So this drummer just made drums so much more complicated than it had to be. But it's good.
Bueno, necesitas que te... Bueno, voy a traducir la respuesta así como bien resumida. Empezó a formarse la batería, ¿cierto? Porque como cuando en la época militar se tocaban como los instrumentos de percusión aparte, ¿cierto? El bombo, la caja, los platillos, etcétera, etcétera. Y bueno, luego se conformó la batería y al principio no existía el hi-hat. Al principio tampoco existían los platillos. Esos se fueron uniendo después. Y bueno, ella no recuerda bien, cree que es este mismo baterista que estábamos mencionando, que se dieron cuenta que cuando tocaba estaba percutiendo con su pie izquierdo todo el rato. Y alguien pensó así como, debería ponerle un instrumento a ese pie para que tenga otra percusión. Y por eso se crea el hi-hat.
Yes. Okay, check it out. Louis Armstrong playing the very, very famous traditional jazz song called Muskrat Ramble. Let me know if you can hear it. Maybe I have to change my settings.
I think maybe you should share the audio.
Okay,
in the share screen settings.
Share screen, share computer sound.
Yeah. Uh-huh. There you go. Now you're sharing.
Nice. All right, check it out, everyone. So killing, isn't it? It's ridiculous. Me encanta.
Love it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I've lost. Let me go back to my. Anybody have any comments?
¿Alguien tiene algo que comentar? ¿Preguntas?
Nice, nice. All good, all good. Check it out. Next drummer. Anybody heard of Al Foster?
¿Alguien ha escuchado hablar de Al Foster?
Nice. That's good. That's good. Now you do. Another pioneer of a drummer, most known for playing with Miles Davis, but in the electric band. Everybody know about the post Miles Davis phase. After he did the famous quintets. Well, first he was playing a lot alongside Charlie Parker and all of these, and then he had the two famous quintets, the one with Wayne Shorter, Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, and Tony Williams, and the other one with Bill Evans and Cannonball Adderley and Swing, Jimmy Cobb, all of these. And then he had his phase in like the 70s where he completely evolved his music and revolutionized the music scene and went kind of electric fusion band.
Al Foster es baterista de Miles Davis, pero en su fase más electrónica que tuvo en los 70, ¿cierto? Porque, bueno, si conocen a Miles Davis, igual él tocó con hartos músicos antes, tuvo sus quintetos con distintos pianistas, digamos, saxofonistas, pero Al Foster es de esa época, es de la época ya como más experimental y no tan bebop o tan tradicional de Miles Davis, es como más su etapa electrónica.
Yes, and I think it's funny because his cymbals are even more slanted than Max Roach. They're like flat.
Que está diciendo que es interesante porque cada vez los platillos se están inclinando más, así como que partimos con los platillos planos, con el primero, y el segundo los tenía un poquito más inclinados, y este ya los tiene casi mirando la cara a los platillos de lo inclinados que están.
Yeah, exactly. Testing the boundaries, taking it to the next level. But I really like, Al Foster inspired the way I set up the drums too, because with every instrument, I guess I learned from Ralph Peterson, the drummer from Boston, that he's more interested in the gravity of the instrument than the technical side of it. So he says, when you have your ride cymbal, your snare drum, if you just like put your arm out naturally with your stick in your hand, where is it going to naturally hit the cymbal? Rather than putting the cymbal like down here and then having to lean over to hit it, it makes sense to put the instrument where you need it. I guess it's like if you're playing piano, it's really important to find the right size, the right height on the stool, because you don't want to sit too low and then have to use more strength or whatever to play it. If it's more natural for you to sit high up and then have your hands fall on the keys or
bueno, ella está diciendo que tuvo un profesor que también le gustaba, digamos, estas formas distintas de ordenar la batería, porque se concentraba más como en la gravedad del instrumento más que en la técnica. digamos que si tú estás acostumbrado a pegarle al platillo y extender tu mano hacia afuera, acomodar el platillo para que suene con tu mano pegándole como tú mueves tu mano naturalmente. Al igual que un pianista tiene que acomodar el sillín de su piano para no quedar demasiado arriba o demasiado abajo.
Yeah, nice. All right. Here we go, last but not least. I already mentioned him, but he also played with Miles Davis in one of the quintets I mentioned, the late 50s and early 60s. Pioneer of jazz fusion, also grew up in Boston. But now we're getting to sort of like the fusion era where obviously the drums are completely developed. I mean, even probably using pedals by now on the guitars, and we have like Nords and more electronic kind of instruments for people to play with. And the drums by now, Tony Williams, he's got what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toms and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cymbals, which you would never ever picture Baby Dodds playing with Louis Armstrong with this setup. Would be crazy. But I think it's really amazing that this is how the drums have developed, and now anything is an option. People are playing the drums with like a frying pan on the cymbal and a bucket, or putting like toys on the drums and putting cymbals on top of each other to create effects. It's like anything goes.
Claro, bueno, Tony Williams es conocido por el post-bop y también tocó con Miles Davis en un quinteto. Es pionero de jazz fusión y creció en Boston, y como vemos en la foto, acá hay un setup de la batería que ya es bastante más complejo que el primero que vimos, ¿cierto? Tiene un montón de toms, tiene un montón de platillos, y bueno, hoy en día ya el jazz y la batería en el jazz se desarrolló de tal manera de que ya podemos encontrar una sartén de platillo o alguien que pone un juguete entre medio de la batería para que suene de una manera, poner 2 platillos juntos para alcanzar un sonido deseado, ¿cierto? Ya se vale todo.
Yes. Next. Hey, I had to put Terry Lynn Carrington in because she's amazing. And what is this presentation without bit of Terry Lynn representation? But mainly just so that everybody is aware of her. And you probably already heard of her, or maybe already saw her play in one of the festivals you've been to, but she's incredible, and obviously a very modern day drummer who is capable of playing anything. It's mind-blowing.
Bueno, no podía ella, digamos, no hacer esta presentación sin mencionar a Terry Lynn Carrington. Yo creo que la mayoría de ustedes la conocen, si no, tienen que conocerla. Aquí sale un poco de su historia, ¿cierto? Ha tocado con Dizzy Gillespie, Clark Terry, Wayne Shorter, Herbie Hancock, Dalino Pérez, creció en Boston, es ganadora del Grammy, y su influencia es de Roy Haynes.
Yeah, and maybe some of you have the same for your instrument, but when I had a lesson with Terry Lynn Carrington, it's fun because of course there's an evolution of all these drummers, and they're all like kind of, even while they're around the scene at the same time, they're learning from each other. But Roy Haynes has a lot. I mean, he's like an innovator on comping using the hi-hat as well as the snare drum, and not just having the hi-hat on 2 and 4, which of course opens up the whole feel of the groove. And he's got a lot of people's kind of language under his belt. So even if you want to learn a bit about Max Roach or even Baby Dodds or Elvin Jones or other drummers like this, then Roy Haynes, you can kind of get a piece of everybody from him.
Bueno, está hablando un poco de Roy Haynes, que dice que él también, digamos que sufre como un sincretismo, digamos, una fusión de los distintos bateristas que habíamos visto en el pasado, y que también desarrolla la batería de su propia forma, pero digamos, si es que uno quiere escuchar un poquito de todo, escuchen a Roy Haynes.
Yes. Nice. All right, here we are. we're back in the Afrobeat, everybody. Enough of that jazz.
Ok, nos pasamos al Afrobeat, ya no estamos en el jazz.
Tony Allen, drum setup is like the funniest thing to me. You see how wide apart his toms are at the top, and the cymbals are so far away from each other. And the snare drum is very, very flat, which is interesting.
Está diciendo que aquí, bueno, vemos un orden de la batería, ¿cierto? Bastante distinto, es súper amplio. Los toms están súper alejados el uno del otro, los platillos están súper alejados y la caja está plana, no como lo habíamos visto antes en las otras baterías.
Yes, and there's some information here, but we already talked about this earlier on. But yeah, here we go. All right, let's get into some of the Afrobeat rhythms then, and how they're connected to the jazz and the swing.
Entonces ahora vamos a ver un poco de los ritmos de Afrobeat y cómo se conectan con el jazz.
Yes, so maybe some of you might have seen this before. I don't know. I think I did a little bit of this when I went to Chile in 2 years ago, or 3 years ago maybe. But cool, right? Also, I would really like to play the drums, but I just literally need to like set up one microphone. So is it okay if we have like a 2-minute break and then you can stay there or do your thing while I set up the microphone?
No, está preguntando si es que está bien, si es que tenemos un pequeño break de 2 minutos, porque ella necesita mostrar unas cositas en la batería, pero necesita enchufar su micrófono e instalarlo. Entonces, ¿está bien si hacemos eso? ¿Qué dice el público?
Nice, love it. All right,